Hello, welcome along to your Midweek Ireland AM.
It is Wednesday the 24th of May, and on today's show we are talking travel etiquette.
Yes.
Terrific thrillers and tantalising footwork.
Oh, you're gonna do, I thought you were, I knew it. Isn't that good? First up, college students have been sharing their struggles to secure accommodation. At 7:15, one student is going to tell us how he's forced to commute at least 5 hours every single day on his round trip to college. It can be up to 6 sometimes on the bus. Yeah, it's a lot.
Later we are going to ask if child-free zones should be introduced on planes and trains after a viral video showed a toddler running wild on a flight. We want to hear from you. 0896 111 111. Share your thoughts on travel etiquette with children.
And you're the parent. You're like, yeah.
Sometimes the kids, I mean, good luck.
Good
Just
luck
don't
with
travel with them. That's what we don't.
You don't travel, just leave them at home. They're fine. After 8, we chat about Ireland's booming crime writing scene with a best-selling author, Joe Spain, who just so happens to have a brand new book.
Plus, from Wonder Goals to the World Cup, we have loads to catch up with the Republic of Ireland captain, Katie McCabe.
Absolutely, later on. Right. I know, they lost to Chelsea earlier on this weekend. Don't think we should be very happy with that, obviously. What else can we be looking forward to today, Alan?
Well, lots looking forward to inside here in the kitchen. We welcome a new chef who's making a Filipino chicken dish on the catwalk. It's summer style, whatever the weather, so that's going to mean raincoats basically. Plus we learn how to spin plates. Yes, we are going to do that in our Circus Masterclass, all coming up a little later. But Deric, please tell us the sunshine's going to stay with us for another day.
Yes, welcome down here to my home turf in Limerick. You're indeed correct. That is Azores High hanging with us now. Right across today we're seeing some lovely, nice sunshine. In fact, temperatures warming up pretty nicely, up to around 21 degrees through parts of the south later on today. A little bit of cloud cover through northwestern areas. But at Mary Immaculate College, just over my shoulder here, Clocher, have gone small because we're off to visit Science Blast. So it's all about education, it's all about learning, and we'll have lots of fun experiments coming your way. I'm wearing, you know I'm from Limerick, wouldn't you? I've got the green jacket, look, I've got the green polo, I've got green socks, green jocks. I'm joking.
Oh no, you're going to have to prove that a little bit later on. I think you want to show us the whole look a little bit later on.
You're from Limerick, you can tell Moran's heading to a nice business meeting today.
Got the shoulders on. Also, I love the way Derek's talking about it's going to be a heat wave, 20 degrees, and wearing a massive puffer. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's so warm, guys. Now it's time to get your first check on today's news and say good morning to Anne O'Donnell.
Thanks, Maureen. Good morning. Well, Facebook's parent company Meta is expected to begin another round of global layoffs today. There are fears that jobs will go in Ireland, with announcements expected later on today. A new survey for Bernardo's shows that parents and their children have had to cut back or go without essentials over the past 6 months due to the cost of living crisis. Well, Trish Laverty has the details.
This survey by Amoric Research of 315 parents, as well as interviews with 30 parents supported by Bernardo's, highlights the growing impact of the cost of living crisis on families. Over 7 in 10 parents said that increased costs have negatively affected their kids over the past 6 months. 37% said they had to go without or cut down on heating, 23% on electricity, and a fifth on food. Almost 3 in 10 said they had to reduce or go without medical care or medicines. 43% of parents cut back on new clothes for their kids, and almost 2/3 said that they had curtailed their children's social activities. Bernardo's have made several recommendations to government to help address the crisis, including a reduction in waiting times for parents seeking additional needs payments, expanding the hot meals programme to secondary schools, pilot school meals during holidays, and free public transport for children during holidays. Trish Laverty, Virgin Media News.
A second day of searching for Madeleine McCann gets underway in Portugal this morning. The British toddler disappeared in the country's Algarve region in 2007. Police tents and cordons remain in an area by a reservoir about 50 kilometres from Praia de Luz, where the 3-year-old was last seen alive in 2007. The search commenced at the request of German authorities.
Investigating there in Portugal on the basis of certain indications. I cannot disclose the background at the moment, why we are searching there and what we hope to find. That is to remain our secret for the moment.
To the US now, and the Florida Governor Ron DeSantis plans to launch his 2024 presidential campaign today. According to a spokesperson for his political team, the announcement will happen during online conversation with Twitter owner Elon Musk. Anyone can listen in and request to ask a question during the discussion.
We compare 14 insurance quotes to get you the best deal. So choose chill and work smarter, not harder.
Thank you, Chair, and a very good morning. We're coming to you here from the grounds of Mary Immaculate College. We're down here in the heart of Limerick City this morning. We're off to visit Science Blast, so lots of science experiments with primary school kids coming your way later on this morning. Anyway, let's take an opening look at weather together now with Alvaro Valero with us on cameras. This Wednesday, the 24th of May, we're motoring through the month and out there this morning. A good deal of cloud cover to start the day, but beginning to brighten up now as we work away over the coming hours, but still quite cloudy through northern northwestern areas with some patchy light rain and drizzle in that northwesterly airflow. Now right across today, in fact, that cloud cover will break up and we're going to see some really nice sunshine, especially through parts of the Midlands, the further south. We think once we go north, take a look at the map, that cloud cover hanging on there through parts of Ulster in across the northwest. They're unfortunately missing out on that lovely sunshine we've been having over the last couple of days, and once again light rain, light drizzle on the cars, but all eyes really on those temps out there this Wednesday. It's going to warm up pretty nicely at 16 to 20. We may even get up to about 21 degrees across southern regions. Now across into tonight, we're painting a similar picture really to what we've seen over the last couple of nights. Mainly dry, calm and settled. Patchy mist as well feeding its way into tomorrow morning, but that Azores high hanging with us right across tonight and into tomorrow. Some more sunshine on the cards as we work our way into your Thursday. So that's how it's shaping up here in a dry and settled Limerick City at the moment. We'll be back again live at 7:35.
Chill Insurance work harder so you can work smarter. We compare 14 quotes to get you the best deal.
Now it's time to take a look at today's papers. We're going to start with the Irish Times. Its headline: floating accommodation to be sought for asylum seekers. The government is planning to tender for floating accommodation to house asylum seekers amid unprecedented pressure on the state's integration system, which Taoiseach Leo Varadkar has called a major crisis.
The Daily Mail's headline: Cabinet fearful it is losing grip of migrant crisis. Several Cabinet sources have told the paper that a COVID-style response is needed to tackle the government's infighting and failure to take responsibility of the crisis among senior members.
The Examiner leads with charity sector faces collapse due to pay disparity. Home care, disability and addiction services are amongst the organisation facing collapse because they cannot recruit staff.
Coalition war over Varadkar's populist tax breaks for families. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. A bitter coalition row has broken out over Fine Gael's call for a €1,000 tax cut in the budget, with Fianna Fáil figures calling the move populist, uncosted and nuts, pre-budget kite-flying by Varadkar's party.
A lot of words there. The Mirror goes with hunger shames. Children are being sent to school without lunch because parents cannot afford the meal. That's according to Bernardo's cost of living report. And we will have more on those findings in our newspaper review at 7:45 this morning.
The Sun leads with hurling insults. RTÉ's top GAA show is under the spotlight after an on-air standoff between presenter Joanne Cantwell and pundit Donald Ó Cusack went viral.
The Star's front page reads, they think it's haulier over. An Irish smuggler who worked with Daniel Kinahan has been ordered to pay €720,000 or face extra jail time.
The Herald also leads with that story. Drug lord hit with €722,000. Thomas Maher is serving 14 years and was yesterday ordered to hand over his mansion, cars and watches.
And as we mentioned, we'll be talking about more of those stories at 7:45. But yesterday we spoke very briefly about the accommodation crisis facing third-level students. And so many people got in touch, emailing and texting, that we thought we should spend a little bit more time on it today. So
next we're going to meet one student commuting 5 hours each day just to get to class. We will see him after the break. You're very welcome back. Now, the student accommodation crisis has been ongoing for many years, with a new UCD survey finding the shortage has a worrying impact on students continuing their education.
Here to discuss the issues are student Alex Connell and President of UCD Students' Union, Molly Greenough. Thank you both so much for being here this morning, because we hear about this all the time, and this student accommodation crisis has been going on for a very, very long time. Alex, you're currently commuting from Kildare to UCD so that you can go to college. Can you tell us what your day is like?
So it's roughly a 3-hour commute. If I have a 9 a.m. lecture, it means I'm up at 5 a.m. to get the 6 o'clock bus. It's about 2 hours, 20 minutes from my house into the city centre, and then it could be 30, 40 minutes on the 39A out to UCD.
So then we're talking like 6 hours. If you're going home that night,
yeah,
we're talking 6 hours.
Same thing again, yeah.
So you're leaving at
5
what
a.m.
time and getting home at what time?
If I'm in 9 to 5, I'll be leaving at 6 and getting home at around 8 o'clock at the earliest.
Wow, and is this 5 days a week?
Yeah.
You've done it all year?
Well, there's been the odd day I've woken up and said there's not a chance I'm getting out of bed for this, but generally speaking, yeah, I've been timetabled to be doing it all year.
And what year are you in?
First. And
did you try, like, are you available for grants? Did you try to get housing on the UCD campus?
So, like, I briefly looked at it, but to be honest, I think it's been made so public, everybody kind of knew how much it costs, and I just knew that on-campus accommodation wasn't going to be an option. I looked at things like digs and stuff, and you're even still looking at upwards of €600 a month. My income is 880. It's a fixed income. I'm on the disability allowance, so it's not going to change. It's not the kind of thing where you can pick up an extra shift and get extra money. It's €880. If you're paying €600 a month, which is the very cheapest you'll find in Dublin, that still only leaves you €280 to live off of for food, bills, meds, anything like that.
Yeah.
Do you question, why do I bother with this? Is the course worth it?
Yeah, there's days where I do, but even still, it's like, it's really the only option for people living in my area. You know, there's one bus a day that goes to Maynooth. So again, people going to Maynooth are doing the same thing. There's no public transport links to Athlone or Carlow, which probably would be closer. So again, you're left with the option of going to Dublin, and anyone in Dublin will have the same commute as me.
Yeah, and we'll get to why it is actually a lot more difficult for you than an awful lot of people in just a minute. But Molly, UCD was chosen because it does have a broad spectrum of people from all around the country who go to college there. Well, how bad is it? Like, we sit here and we discuss it all the time, but I suppose you're in a bubble if you don't have kids who are going to college, or if you're not going to college yourself. You must have people coming into student council all the time going, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, and not to alarm people, but I would really say it's one of the single largest roadblocks that students are facing in terms of accessing higher education. Our survey that we launched yesterday found that just under 50% of our respondents found that the accommodation crisis was having a negative impact on their educational experience. The same goes with the student experience, and approximately 45% of students said it was negatively impacting their mental health. So everything from your ability to actually succeed in your course to even the smaller things like getting involved with societies and clubs, which is really such a massive part of college. It's not all about what you learn, it's about how you develop as a person, and that's really being stripped away from young people nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think that was the biggest part of it, is actually the college life. I mean, we're coming up to Leaving Cert time. This normally comes out, this sort of conversation around August, September time. We discuss it and then it goes away. You brought out this report a little bit earlier because it is coming up to the Leaving Cert, and it is about people who are potentially going to college next year being aware that this is the situation they face.
Yeah, absolutely. We think it's so important for students and their families to be acutely aware of the accommodation crisis. But more so than anything, the clock is ticking now, in our view. There's 7 weeks until the Dáil goes on recess for the summer. So we do believe there is time for the government to start implementing short-term changes that would make things a bit easier for students ahead of the next academic year.
Like what?
First and foremost, we'd like to see them look at other economic hardships students are facing. We appreciate it'll take a long time to build up the level of housing supply, and we need to adequately combat the crisis, but looking at things like abolishing tuition fees, increasing SUSI grants, and looking into regulation of digs to provide more protections for students and homeowners, we all believe would be meaningful changes, but they'd be able to be achieved in a short timeline.
Do we see traditional student accommodation areas not being used for students nowadays, like for the likes of Airbnbs with the popular... I mean, we're seeing an accommodation crisis all over the country, but particularly around colleges.
Yeah.
You know, students, if they want to have that student life, they can't be affording astronomical rents.
Yeah.
But landlords see, you know, the demand is there for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one important thing as well is that while we're here talking about the student accommodation crisis, it does exist within the context of the wider housing crisis as well. So even when the likes of like use on-campus accommodation would usually fill up very quickly in the purpose-built student accommodation providers as well. But it's nearly impossible to find anything in the private rental sector as well. And when you have students going to viewings, it's not just students in line, they're young people working, they're pensioners, they're families. So everyone has really lost out and has been disadvantaged by the crisis.
It's across the board, but it's not new. A lot of conflating, like refugees coming in. We've had this accommodation crisis for years, and it feels like they're so slow to act on it. And just for you, Alex, your €880 that you get, and you said it's a disability allowance, that's because you have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which means like you have worked part-time jobs, but it's very hard for you because your syndrome means...
Yeah, so I've worked 3 part-time jobs, worked all through secondary school, loved working, loved controlling my own income, you know, picking up shifts, doing what I could to get whatever money I needed that week. And I left all 3 of them because of injuries in work related to the condition.
So what's your syndrome? What happens?
So it's a connective tissue disorder. It's relatively rare. It's a group of disorders. There's 12 different types. So some people have vascular Ehlers-Danlos and affects their heart mainly. I have the hypermobile type, so it affects my joints. There's a lot of joint pain. Like I said, dislocations weekly.
You just dislocated your shoulder a minute ago before we came on.
But my shoulder's actually dislocated.
Right now.
It will go in and out all day, like.
Which makes life a bit more difficult, does it?
Yeah, it does. Like, even everyday tasks. Like, I remember there was one time I was in 6th year and I ended up spending a week in hospital because I put my hand up in class to answer a question and it went out and didn't go back in. So literally mundane things like that can have such an impact. And then obviously throw in the commute, it adds in the fatigue aspect of the syndrome then, and it just...
And this is because when we're talking about the Susie grants, and if you've got less than 4 dependent children, to get the special rate of maintenance, the field trip, the 100% tuition, you have to be earning under €25,000, which is a tiny amount for a family to be living on in order to qualify for you to be able to get accommodation.
Like, if you look at the average social welfare payment is roughly €12,000 or €13,000 a year. So if you have even 2 parents out of work on social welfare, you still might not qualify for the Susie grant.
Like, this has to be looked at, like, Molly, in relation to the rates of pay with inflation and what's happening in this country and people going to their employers trying to get inflationary increases, they could be disqualifying themselves from getting their children help in order to actually be able to go to college.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the Susie grant system needs a complete overhaul. And even if you do look at the maximum, like, special rate, I believe it's just under $7,000 for the year. And that wouldn't even pay for a year of accommodation. So it's the Susie grant was meant to help people get along in college and be able to survive. Now you can't even make ends meet with it, not remotely close. So it needs to match levels of inflation, certainly.
Do you see students having to work extra shifts and extra jobs all the time as well? Because, listen, like we all, whenever we were college students, had to do a bit on the side. It must be very difficult if you're trying. I'm sure you can see your classmates as well that... Like they're trying to, you're doing politics degree, is that right? Which I'm sure takes up a lot of time, a lot of reading. But you also have to do a lot of work.
I know people who, you know, I'll text them after a lecture and be like, oh, why weren't you in today? And they say, oh, I picked work over the lecture. I picked up a shift today so that I'd have money for the week and I just didn't go to the lecture instead. Like, it's...
If I had to travel, do a 6-hour round trip when I was in NUIG, I don't think I would. Like, come on. I wouldn't have lasted. I would have been like, you know, you've got a lot of fortitude in order to continue to keep on doing this as someone who's meant to be experiencing college life. Have there been days when you're like, I'm just so wrecked, I can't do this?
Yeah, definitely. It's been like, I couldn't count, to be honest with you, the amount of days where I've woken up at that 5 o'clock alarm and I've just rolled straight over and said, it's not worth it today. I'm not going in. Like, what will I learn in the lecture that is more valuable than getting a bit of sleep? Because, you know, again, if I'm getting home at 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, and then getting up at 5 a.m, it's not even the commute that is exhausting me, it's the lack of sleep, just from logistics of not being home long enough to get a night's sleep.
Yeah, like, and you're a student, you should be able to go out and have a bit of crack.
To enjoy yourself.
Exactly.
Like, life is long enough and hard enough.
Absolutely. Listen, it is really interesting. We'd love to put this out there. Your kids potentially going doing their Leaving Cert this year, or are your kids in college at the minute? And have you a story that can even beat 6 hours? It's just insane. Alex Connell.
6 hours, my God, can you imagine?
Thank you so much for coming in. Molly Greenough, President of the UCD Students' Union. Great to have you both with us.
Thanks very much.
He's doing politics. I can see him in front of the Dáil one day in the committee going for it. Thank you so much. Don't jinx me, no. He's got to do other things. Still to come this hour, we're going to be reviewing today's top stories.
Plus, later on, we're going to be talking family travel etiquette and asking if there should be child-free zones introduced onto public transport.
He wants child-free zones in his house. It's fun.
Right. Chat to you after the break.
Talk to you in a minute. This should be fun. With summer holidays around the corner, many families will be jetting off on their holidays. And my God, do you deserve it? But following a viral video showing a toddler running wild, that's not my words, that's a quote, on a flight, this morning we're asking if child-free zones should be introduced on planes. How does that even work? Anyway.
Well, here to discuss is psychotherapist and author Richard Hogan, alongside CEO of Parentline, Aileen Hickey. Good morning.
Good morning, folks.
Both. Okay, so you have 5 children, Aileen, and Richard, you have 3 children.
Three,
so you're well used to the kids going a bit mental and
no.
causing a bit of
Absolutely
disruption.
not. Absolutely not.
You've seen my family, obviously, Tommy.
Well, let's start with this then, Aileen. So what do you think about a kids-free zone in public transport?
Well, first of all, I have the lived experience, so I have been the parent that has brought 5 children on an aeroplane. Now, I will say, we had 5 under the age of 7, and the eldest was 9 before we even got her a passport. So we staycationed until she was about 9. She said she was the only one in the class without a passport, so they were obviously all very privileged people in her class. But anyway, so we did, you know, when the youngest was about 2 or 3, we kind of made a break for it, and we brought the 5 of them on an aeroplane. And I can still remember the horror on people's faces as we walked up the stairs of the aeroplane, wondering, you know, what was going to happen. And it wasn't easy. You know, we tried to manage them as best we could. There was, you know, ear popping and feeding and all the rest of it, but we did try to manage them. I've also been on the other side of it, whereby they're a bit older, and I have travelled on flights by myself now, and want to get the peaceful enjoyment of the flight since I paid for the ticket, and have been sitting next to people on flights who've had small children who have, you know, caused a bit of merry hell. Sometimes not their own fault, or sometimes because they're maybe not being controlled as best they can by parents. So what I will say is, first of all, I think a designated child-free zone on a long-haul flight might possibly be a good idea. Now, not for a short-term flight, but for a long-haul flight, because people are paying for, you know, they're paying for a ticket, and they're also paying for maybe, you know, the right to have a reasonable enjoyment of their flight. Balanced against, before you go for me, balanced against the right of families to travel and the entitlement of everyone to go on holidays. So it's all about how you parent the child while you're on the aeroplane.
Well, see, this is the thing. It's about parenting a child. That is the name of people who have had children. 0896 111 111. We would love to hear from you. Now, Richard, there are now silent carriages on trains where people can chill out, and, you know, you're not meant to be taking calls or shouting or all that kind of stuff. It doesn't mean you have to be silent. What do you make of this idea? Because this video looked like a horror. It did just look like the parents had given up. God bless them. Like, I can't imagine the stress of having a child on flight. So there's, you know, I don't know if we don't have the video so blurred, but there's pictures of the, you know, the kids standing on everything and running over people. What do you make of the idea to kind of go, okay, we'll put parents and kids over there and everyone else over there?
I have to out my bias. First of all, at a wedding, I'll always be found over with the kids at the kids' table, messing and, you know, hanging around with the kids. I enjoy this, you know. Yeah. And so I travel a lot, and I travel to the Philippines about 4 times a year. I have a charity out there, and I travel economy, and so I'd be next to babies a lot and children a lot. And I think if you're expecting it, there are children-free zones on planes. It's called first class, really, and business class. And I would say maybe that's what you need. If you're going to go to economy and expect to have a free zone in the plane, I think, you know,
What about corralling
husband-free
them
zone
into
would be
one
great.
area? Alan's looking at me going, oh, that'd be fantastic, wouldn't it?
I just don't think...
He should be on this. He's the one who's always travelling.
Noise-cancelling earphones.
Oh, listen,
Tommy,
they're the
this is
best
my-
thing ever.
This is what I would say, honestly. Obviously, there's a bit of parenting. I've brought my kids with me everywhere we've gone. We've gone everywhere around the world. And I can see people when I get on the plane kind of going, like, getting described, oh, Jesus, you know, what's this going to be like? Ultimately, I've been on the plane when there's babies screaming and roaring, you put in your earphones, you watch a movie and you chill out. If you're the kind of person, this is what I'd say psychotherapy-wise, if you're the kind of person who that torments, no matter where you go, you're going to be tormented because you're going to be looking for something to torment you. You're going to business class, the air hostess won't be serving you as fast as you want. There'll be noise over here, somebody will walk through the curtain. Something's going to torment you.
Say if you do kind of put them all into one area, one baby starts crying, then the next kid is going to start crying. They see one kid jumping up and down. Like, it could be contagion.
I think we should put all husbands into one area and all wives into another area. I mean, where do we go with it if we're going to go down this road?
You know, well, first of all, I think everyone will give allowance to a baby that's crying in an airplane because babies need to be fed and they need to be changed and all the rest.
But say it's a 4-year-old going mad.
So there's a big difference between bringing a child on an airplane and, you know, trying to occupy the child and you know, and the child might have a few difficulties on the plane and they might, you know, their ears might pop. All my kids' ears pop. Yeah. And, you know, we live in a society and you just have to put up with it and remember that, you know, you were a child yourself, even if you don't have children yourself, you were a child yourself and you might have been on a flight. But I suppose where the buck stops is where it's a parent whose child is running up and down an airplane while they're watching a movie and eating popcorn and drinking wine and ignoring their child because at that point, you know, everybody else is entitled to a bit of enjoyment on the flight. And also, I have to say, you know, if you're going to have a child-free designated area in an airplane, I would much prefer to see a hen and stag designated area in an airplane because that can be a lot more disruptive than a child on an aeroplane. So, you know, if you're going to have a designated area, make it for the hen and stag parties.
I mean, for the people
Class
who would give out
systems back.
about children making noise, there is nothing more stressful than travelling with children. If you think that you have it bad having to listen to these kids, that being a parent trying to entertain a child, keep them quiet, make them behave themselves, personally, I would love at the back of the plane was for all kids so I could let them loose.
I know.
But imagine the racket then.
But I think there's a stigma around it, and I do think you're right, Tommy. I think when people see kids getting on a plane like Aileen described, they're kind of going, oh my God, here they are. And something what I'd always do is make, like you say, if I saw you getting on with your kids, I'd say they're beautiful kids, and I'd say a nice, positive, warm comment about the baby. She's very good. And I can see the parent immediately relaxing that, oh my God, I'm not being surrounded by judgment, or there's no stigma around me here. And I think it's really important. We can't start segregating parts of our society. I mean, they're kids. We were all kids.
Because I'm the one without kids here, everyone, I love a child on a plane. Normally they're in front of you, you play hidey-boo for an hour and a half, you have a great time. It's fantastic.
What about in a restaurant?
In a restaurant?
Yeah.
What?
You see a child in a restaurant.
Well, if it's after 8 o'clock, why would you be seeing a child in a restaurant?
Tell us what she said earlier, though.
Oh, you're out now, I think, Vern.
I might decide to leave if there's a child running loose all over a restaurant. But is this not just about also parenting? So a friend of mine does own a pub, and a lot of the times when families come in with their kids, and they just stopped parenting as though it was their fault. And, you know, she's got a place where the kegs go down, and she was like, a child is going to fall down this. Like, she was getting the kegs down there. And she was like, they've just stopped parenting. They've stopped. They think it's my responsibility now that they're in my established, that I'm going to run around after their child. And she was really frustrated. And I couldn't tell you how much I felt for her. She's got kids herself, but she's like, it's not my job to mind the children. But
that's exactly it. And, you know, and it's not even just the staff, it's the other people in the restaurant, but it's also the children, because you're putting them in danger. I mean, you know, if you leave your child run riot in a restaurant, you know, and there's people carrying hot plates and drinks and all the rest of it. So, you know, if you're going to bring your child to a restaurant before 8 o'clock in the evening, and I think you should, if you can, you know, it's a very nice experience for families, but you do have to be, you know, very conscious of the people around you and, you know, the fact that they're entitled to have their meal in a bit of peace as well. So, you know, I mean, look, we've brought our 5 kids to restaurants for years, and you know, if one of them was causing absolute blue murder, and all of them have at some stage, we walk outside the restaurant until they're calmed down. There are plenty of ways and means. It's just, as a parent, look, everything about parenting comes down to actually being a parent and actually
trying. Right?
So what is the etiquette then? If you are travelling with children, you know, it's very important to parent them and try to keep them as quiet as you can.
Yeah.
But sometimes that.
But it's unrealistic to expect them to be aware of other people. I mean, their cognition isn't developed enough to think.
But you can be aware of other people on their behalf.
Yeah. We're doing a megaphone here, as you can see, just under. You can scan the QR code and vote on this.
I've never seen a child run riot, and I don't know what we're describing because I've been on flights so many times. I've never seen a child run riot, like just running down the corridor, kind of going, "God, who owns that child?" I've never seen that on a plane, to be honest. I've seen adults, all over the place.
But I also think we also have to be conscious that an awful lot of the time that we have more understanding of children with autism, and you just have to realise that the parents are trying to go through something that's not sometimes a loss of parenting. It's that we just have to have more understanding.
Some children have far more needs.
Yeah, absolutely. You know what I mean? And the last thing any parent wants is, if they're doing their best, is to be tut-tutted and judged because they're entitled to go on holidays and they have a right to travel as well.
Absolutely. I mean, we don't travel because of it, because it's just too stressful.
Well, as I say, it's mine doesn't travel.
Absolutely. Get your phone out, have a look at the QR code, let us know what you think. Look at that, 62% already are saying that we should not have child-free zones.
Should not.
Thank you very much, Richard Hogan, psychotherapist and author, of course, and CEO of Parentline, Aileen. Hickey, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Very, very interesting.
Alan, you've got him over there. Do you want to give your opinion on that?
Tan on him.
I don't think there should be different zones, but I do think the parenting thing, because I was on a plane once and the child just kept kicking the back of the seat.
Yeah.
And no matter how many times you look around, parents were just ignoring the fact that the child was kicking the seat.
Yeah.
So and then I did say it to them, and then they stopped. But I shouldn't have had to say it, should I?
No,
exactly. Now, coming up, that's my little rant for the morning.
Your child is
Now, our newspaper review is next. One headline that caught our eye is that a study that we've missed it already. 7:30 in the morning is the best time to get intimate with your partner. We'll see in a few minutes. Welcome back. Time now to delve into this morning's headlines.
Political reporter. There's one coming up that he's going to love with the Irish Times. Jack Horgan-Jones is with us. Jack, it is lovely to have you here. We're going to start with your own story, actually, on the front of the Irish Times. And this is about the migrant accommodation crisis, which feels like a misnomer because it is an accommodation crisis that we've been having for years. But of course, we've had an awful lot of refugees come into the country and migrants recently. So what are the new ideas that they've got?
Well, the big new idea is one that they rejected not too long ago. This is the idea of using floating accommodation or floatels, basically not necessarily cruise ships, which is what people often think of when they think about this, but like a barge docked alongside a quay. And there's a couple of locations mentioned in dispatches from government that we're writing about this morning, one being the potential to go on Sir John Rogerson's Quay in Ireland and also on Horgan's Quay in Cork and Penrose Quay in Cork, all under potential examination. The idea is basically you tie up one of these things next to the quayside and you accommodate people there in the equivalent of a hotel. Now, we're some ways away from this becoming a reality. The government, as I say, had rejected it. They said, no, we want to stay land-based with this, but because of the weight of pressure that is coming on them, they've had to reconsider, and they're now talking about putting out a tender. So they're going to go to market and basically say, look, do you have
these? I've seen them in the UK. They look terrible. They look like big containers.
They are not aesthetically pleasing,
but it was holding hundreds of people on one of these ones in the UK.
This is it. I think we're at the point of the crisis where, you had certainly 500 plus people sleeping on the streets. That number is coming down significantly, but there are more people coming, so we do need to look for more and more accommodation options. So you can't necessarily be concerned about the aesthetics of it. I think they're more concerned probably about things like, how do you actually make this thing work? It's a floating hotel on the side of the river, but what about services? What about, tents on land? What about
and why
water
did they
and food
turn
and all
down the
rest of it?
idea of the cruise ship last year? It makes sense.
It does.
The rooms are there.
It does, but I think that it probably was just too kind of radical or too visible a manifestation of the scale of the crisis, and they thought they could probably mop it up using hotels and then bring these kind of medium-term options on, like rapid build. But we all know that rapid build is not rapid, and it's not cheap, and it's actually not going to be that many beds. They're being forced to reconsider things.
We do know that this has happened with a massive refugee crisis after World War II, when we had much slower building techniques, and they had millions of people all over Europe who were displaced. The flotels this is being done. You mentioned, we're seeing them in the UK. It is being done in certain areas. But now asylum seekers are due to be housed at a Galway office block. This was mooted. It was on your paper the other day as well. There has been an awful lot of criticism before kind of some people started turning away from trying to help people to, blockading them instead, that Hickey weren't doing enough to go, listen, when we're talking about people who are homeless, and we're not just talking about refugees, we're talking about, people who are from Ireland, essentially, if you want to use that term, that Hickey need to just relax the rules because we need to get people cover, right?
Yes, and I think one of the problems is that when you have a rapid expansion of the kind of settings in which you're housing people, I mean, there are hotels used, disused, coming back into use all over the country that are being deputised into this effort. You obviously don't have a uniformity of standards, and you don't necessarily have a watchdog in the form of Hickey or an inspectorate who necessarily has the resources or the time or the inclination in some instances to go around and check all these places. And look, I've seen, I'm not saying that this is necessarily the case across the board, but I have seen reports written by NGOs from inside these places, and I mean, it would curl your toes, some of the stuff. It's really, really terrible. You're talking about crowded accommodation, dirty accommodation in many instances, and disease spreading and stuff like that. So we shouldn't kid ourselves into thinking these are holiday camps. Far from it.
Let's move on to another story, which Bernardo's Cost of Living Survey, and it makes for grim reading as well this morning.
It does, and we're actually hit with a whole bevy of data this morning from 3 different organisations, Bernardo's, as you say, but also Safe Food and the Vincent de Paul, all coming out with survey releases, data releases this morning detailing the impact of the ongoing cost of living crisis on families up and down the country. There is a huge amount of data in there and a huge amount of personal testimony. Just a few things that jump out, though. Bernardo said that 28% of people are cutting back on medical expenses, so that's things like GP visits, that could be early interventions, important things like that. Safe Food are saying a 4-person family basically on welfare is spending about 30% of their income on a weekly shop, €150 in an urban environment, 162 in a rural environment. And the VDP saying 40% of people came, there was a 40% increase in people who came to them looking for help with energy bills in 2022. That's gone up by another 50% in 2023.
Which is totally understandable the way things are.
Absolutely. So where does all this go, I suppose? I mean, I think that
energy bills come down because the cost of buying the gas and the electricity is coming down.
I know, but
it needs to be passed on to the
government is very impotent when it comes to stuff like this, because they're looking at asking nicely really is the height of it. There doesn't seem to be too much of a big stick. Nothing happened at the retail forum. So I think that you're looking at, with good reason, a lot of the NGOs beginning to position for the budget already, even though it's only late May, and looking for lasting welfare increases. I think last time we had a huge amount of one-off spending, but they want lasting increases to social welfare and pension rates that keep up with the cost of inflation and also make up for some of the inflation that happened last year. Because even though we saw that €12 increase in weekly rates, it would have needed a €20 increase last year to keep up with the rate of inflation.
But yet we're at the European Commission going, no, Apple, don't give us any of your money. We don't want any of your millions.
We don't want any of the billions.
This is ironically, we already have loads of money before we
had loads of money before that. There's more on that report coming up in news throughout the morning right here on Ireland AM. And now something that Jack, the birthday boy, Happy birthday, Jack Horgan-Jones.
So you've missed your birthday treat this morning because you were in here.
Because you came in here. What's this news?
Gentleman never tells.
Maybe you did miss your birthday treat then.
This is news that says 7:30 a.m. So we're a little bit late today. 7:30 a.m. is the best time for marital relations, shall we say, for sex.
Not necessarily marital. Not marital relations.
Research says that sex in the morning is more satisfying than any other time of day, particularly at 7:30 a.m. So we are joining the nation in its post-coital glow.
Post-coital glow. How are you feeling? Do you have the bedhead going on right now?
But at least if you're still in bed watching us, you have time to maybe catch up.
Oh my God.
What?
We've
missed it.
I was just going to say, we always miss it. We're no crack at all. This is terrible. Jack Horgan-Jones, happy birthday, boy.
Thank you. Thanks.
7:30 tomorrow morning. That'll be all good. We're just thinking about you. We'll be back right here on Ireland AM very shortly. Now let's take a look at today's papers. We're going to start with the Irish Times. Its headline: floating accommodation to be sought for asylum seekers. The government is planning to tender for floating accommodation to house asylum seekers amid unprecedented pressure on the state's integration system, which Taoiseach Leo Varadkar has called a major crisis.
The Daily Mail's headline: Cabinet fearful it is losing grip of migrant crisis. Several Cabinet sources have told the paper that a COVID-style response is needed to tackle the government infighting and failure to take responsibility of the crisis among senior members.
The Examiner's front page: charity sector faces collapse due to pay disparity. Home care, disability and addiction services are amongst organisations facing collapse because they cannot recruit staff because the wages aren't high enough.
Coalition war over Varadkar's populist tax break for families. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. A bitter coalition row has broken out over Fine Gael's call for a €1,000 tax cut in the budget, with Fianna Fáil figures calling the move populist, uncosted and nuts. Pre-budget kite flying by Varadkar's party.
The Mirror goes with hunger shames. Children are being sent to school without lunch because parents can't afford the meal. That's according to Bernardo's cost of living report.
The Sun leads with hurling insults. RT's top GA show is under the spotlight after an on-air standoff between presenter Joanne Cantwell and pundit Donald O'Cusack went viral.
The Star's front page reads: they think it's haulier over. Irish smuggler Thomas Maher, who worked with Daniel Kinahan, has been ordered to pay €720,000 or face extra jail time.
The Herald also leads with that story. Drug lord hit for €722,000. Now, earlier on, we were talking about student accommodation, Alan, and the cost. A report came out by UCD Student Council yesterday talking about the extortionate prices students will have to pay just to actually go and study into Dublin. We were talking to Alex as well, who travels, is it 6 hours?
It's a 6-hour round trip. He starts his day at 5 a.m. and then he
doesn't get home till 8.
Yeah.
That's
two buses.
Crazy. Yeah. Susan says, my son is in Trinity. We can't afford accommodation for him. He leaves home, similar situation in South Kildare at 6:30 in the morning, cycles to the station to get in for 9 a.m. for lectures. He can't take part in college activities afterwards, and he's missing out on that vital part of student life. I know. And he just feels that he's so disappointed at his college experience. And isn't that what it is? It's all getting with everybody afterwards.
Yeah.
And but you're sort of saying, I can't, I have to go and get my bus home.
And if a lot of people are going, oh, when I was young, no, lads, do you know what? You're working long enough. It's hard enough, and you can't get on the property ladder, and everything's so hard. Students should be able to have a student life.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, this is Kevin said, students need to accept that commuting is part of life.
But they're
a lot
so
of us
young.
have to travel long hours to go to work, and students are no different. Yeah, listen, Kevin, students will be travelling and working for the rest of their days.
They won't be the pension will be going to 75 by the time they're there. They'll be working long enough.
But like at the same time,
they have a bit of crack.
But at the same time, if they want to be students, listen, that's just obviously what they're going to have to do.
But it shouldn't.
Like,
we didn't have to do
no,
that.
it shouldn't.
No,
It shouldn't. But listen, it's an accommodation crisis, not just students struggling. It's everybody.
We know that. We know that.
So we're also a nice bit of a debate about should there be child-free zones introduced onto public transport? So are you going to be taking the kids?
Dimples are going. He's just like.
Are you taking the kids on a flight? And how nervous do you get if you've got your own kids, or how annoyed do you get?
38% said there should be child-free zones introduced on public transport, and 62% say no. Tracy says, never mind a child-free compartment. And you know the way there's silent compartments now on trains. I'd rather a teenager-free compartment. Teens can be loud, disruptive, rude. They often play music loud, smoke vapes inside, all whilst travelling on long journeys. Give me a crying child any day.
And I suppose that we were talking about it earlier on, and about trains like a hen party free zone or a stag party free zone.
Give us our own carriage, we'll have a ball.
And Bernadette says, my brother was travelling from Toronto to London and booked a seat at the rear of the plane. So this obviously airline had a kids zone at the back of the plane. Safe to say he didn't get much sleep that night on his trip from Toronto to London.
Lads, it's so stressful. See, 500 kids. Like, honestly, you're going through snacks. You're doing anything you can
just to
keep them
quiet.
occupied, keep them quiet. And all of a sudden, they just have a tantrum. If they're a young baby, they start crying. There's nothing you can do.
I do like
There's
that
nowhere
strangers
you can go.
can hand you their babies. I remember being on a flight home from Australia, and they just handed me their baby, and I just got to bounce it around for a while. It was lovely.
Oh,
because they were sort of saying, here,
they were like, I'm just someone else, and there were people just taking the baby, going, can I have a go at the baby?
Can I have a go
at the baby?
It's great when you can have a go and give it back, though.
I bet you enjoyed it. Well, yeah, as soon as I started crying. done with that.
Love it, baby. Now, after the break, author Jo Spain, she's going to be chatting a co-writing TV show, a Harry Wilde, as well as her 12th book. We'll see you back here in just a few minutes.
You're very welcome back. Now, our next guest is a best-selling crime novelist who made the move from politics to publishing.
Here now with her 12th book. It is an author you all know. It is Jo Spain. Hello, good morning, Jo. How are you doing?
Thanks for having me on.
Come here, like we could spend hours talking about the crime writers that are in Ireland at the minute. I mean, between yourself and Catherine Ryan Howard and Jane Casey and Claire, like I could go on and on and on and on. What is it? What's the darkness that's in us that you just go? Because your new book, there's a murder on page 1.
It's a bit scary, isn't it? Like every second woman in Ireland is writing a crime book. Be worried.
Do you all get on well?
Yeah, we do, because I think we're, in terms of the world, we're punching above our weight, but we're, small as a country. So when we go to these international festivals, whatever, we find each other, and it's like the Irish girls are in the bar.
Yeah.
So,
oh, good.
Yeah.
Fair play.
Yeah.
Because you did make this move, because you originally were doing the politics.
Yeah, I was working in Leinster House for 10 years.
That must be a place you came up with some good ideas for crime writing with some nefarious dealings going on.
I'd like to stay on top of politics now, but I've got all these shows and books, and at the weekend I had communion and confirmation party, and I have a graduation on Thursday and a leaving cert, and so people sometimes say to me, and do you still watch politics? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
But if I ever get back to it, there's books.
Because you ran for election with Sinn Féin. Like as politics, was it always your first love?
I mean, I think I do this in the books as well. I tend to, even though I write a crime, I'll write something that's kind of a social context, so in this book there's kind of a background of domestic violence. There's something in me that likes world affairs. So I try to, from a young age, I'm interested in the world around me. So even though fiction writing is my passion, I tend to write kind of crime thrillers with something political or kind of worldly in the background.
Because it was with our blessing, your very first one, the book that you submitted, that was with mother and baby institutions. Like you went right in there to deal with the social aspects and issues that were going on in Ireland at the time. Everything that was coming out.
It helped, because my dad was born in a mother and baby home, so I was acutely aware of it, and I found it more when I was writing that book, and I treated it as sensitively as I could because it's my background and many others. But it elevated the book. Like when it went outside of Ireland, I got published in London straight away with that book, and it travelled internationally because people were saying, OK, it's not just a crime thriller, it's a crime thriller, it's got an Irish background, and they were fascinated by it. So, yeah.
With that topic then, was it difficult to write about something that was so close to your own story?
Well, I mean, yeah, my dad died when he was 44. I was 16 at the time, and he'd had a hard life of not knowing that his mother hadn't wanted to give him up for adoption. He was very much kind of a modern view of adoption, and he thought she didn't want him. And then learning afterwards that actually she fought very hard to keep him. So I knew that when I was writing that book, and I read so many horrifically tragic, sad stories. Yeah. So it was in my mind all the time. I didn't want to use it for just entertainment value. I wanted to do it justice, which hopefully I did.
And it really did. Like it was, I think the first time that I really heard about you was with Richard and Judy when they were like searching for the next big thing. Yeah. And it was that, something that we found so shameful and is so shameful. It's such a horrible part of our history that internationally they're just finding out about it and they're like, oh my God, there's interest in all those stories.
When they did that film, was it Spotlight a few years ago about, the crimes in the American church, and I was looking at it thinking, oh yeah, in Ireland we're totally au fait with all of this. We know.
We know what's happening.
Yeah.
Unbelievably, yeah.
It is incredible. You're incredible. Like, this is what, your 12th book?
Thank you.
I was reading about it, like, you have done book after book, like 2 books a year type thing. You're writing for television as well. You have 4 children. How do you fit it all in?
The laugh of
the nervous giggle. Okay, right.
I was about to say, did I see the eye twitch there?
That's the 15th coffee up today.
It's like the work ethic must be incredible to try and balance it all.
It is. I mean, it's not easy. I'm not going to lie. On a lot of my TV shows at the moment, I have a co-writer, and David Logan, he does Harry Wilde with me, and he's always saying to me, have you maybe bitten off more than you can chew with taking this? Because I take on solo shows as well, and I'm like, maybe. But I mean, it's my dream to do this. I love doing it. So it's work, but it's not work.
Yeah.
It's
This is a classic Joe Spain. I opened it last night, and then next thing, it was 12:15, and I was like, I need to go to sleep because I got to get up in the morning. You know, as with, you know, the perfect light last, it sucks you in straight away. So can you tell us what your latest book is, Don't Look Back, is about?
Well, I'll tell without telling, which is what we always have to do. The first chapter of this, we meet this couple, Rose and Luke, and they're on a belated spontaneous honeymoon on a Caribbean island. And about to go home, he's noticed something's up with her. And she says, we can't go home, there's a body in our apartment, and I've put it there. So this lovely, beautiful wife of his has killed somebody. So he gets in touch with an old friend of his called Mickey, who's an Irish woman living in London. Used to work with victims of domestic violence, but kind of became very disillusioned with the law, letting them down. Now she's kind of like, I heard her described as a female equaliser. She extracts women from situations. And he says, I need your help because Rose had a dodgy guy in her past, and he's now dead in our apartment, and I need something from that apartment. And this is the premise of the story, but everybody is lying.
As with all of your characters, not one of them likes to tell the truth. Like, every time I read one of these books, I'm looking at you and Alan going, what are they lying to me about today?
Are you good at lying? Is this where you get... who is it?
I'm not even Joe Spain. No, I'm good at creating a network of... It's a web. It's a web in the books, and I'm really bad at it in real life. I have this thing where, so if I was lying to you now and I wasn't wearing this T-shirt, I'd be red from my neck to my, so I'm no good at it in real life.
But you've gone, as you say, there's a social element to all of your books an awful lot of the time, and this is dealing with domestic violence, which, the way you describe it, it's very well done, and it's awful, and it's that coercive control and that isolation of people. You obviously do an awful lot of research into what happens.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it's difficult to be a woman and not to either have something in your life or to know somebody who has experienced it in their life. And I've grown up aware of domestic violence, but I, like everything, and maybe it's kind of the Trinity College background in me, I research to death and then try not to batter the reader over the head with the research that I've done, you know? So it's like it's there and I'm writing about it, but with a light touch.
Also a page turner, like as in, you know, you're like, oh, who's lying on what's going on?
And how do you mix that? Because you're also, like, you're working on television then as well. And you co-wrote Harry Wilde, which has gone on to the second season as well.
Second and third, we filmed them back to back.
My goodness. Yeah. And how heavily involved are you on the TV projects?
Well, I co-write Harry Wilde and I co-showrun it with Dave. So we're in post-production on it at the moment. We don't showrun all our shows because that would be, it's undoable.
But we all know what a showrunner is now. You know, we've heard about these big, and they're from the casting to the writing to the music to, like...
Yeah, I'm playing piano on Friday over one of our episodes. I'm going down to Ray Harmon's studio and we're...
Where are the kids? Do you, like, have to drag them along
what
as well?
Kids?
It's amazing.
They know. They're part of it. You know, I work at home a lot, so I'm there a lot, and they see me. So.
And how is the TV life? Because that show has been cast in like sort of a dream way. Like, first of all, I saw Samantha Mumba in it last year, but then Jane Seymour and Amy Huberman are in it, and they seem to be like the best of friends as well now. Like, is it not just a joy going in looking at these two fabulous people?
I'm worried it's a terrible experience for me because it's so good. And I just hear so many bad stories about other shows. I'm like, this is ruining me for other shows. So I don't want to show one on any other show because this one is the best. So,
like, is it really not? Like, is it lovely?
They are. We go to Jane's pretty much every weekend when she's here, and we run lines and drink champagne and just have a nice time. And then we go out for dinners.
Like that as a co-worker to me.
It's a dream, doesn't it?
We could put you in next season 4 as extras if you want to come in and do something, and then bring you out.
Season 3, like, you're filming at the minute. Let's get straight in there.
We'll finish that one, but I will definitely, you know, we said it to Ryan Tubridy as well. We were saying, like, look, you know, now you're looking for something to do.
Oh, now we'll have somebody, she's got so much time.
We'll be there. Give us the date and we'll be there. And we can drink champagne, discuss whatever you want as well. It'll be perfect.
We'll film it here. We'll have Ryan in on the couch.
We could do a murder on a set.
Murder on a set.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. Is there anything?
It's a mystery week, so...
This is Joe Spain's 12th book, Don't Look Back. And as I said, page turner, like, you're just going to be going, as always. Huge congratulations, Joe. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a million. Still to come, we've got weatherproof staycation trends.
Plus, Deric is getting a science lesson in Limerick. We'll see you back here very soon. Now, if I read one more headline saying warmer than Malaga,
Yeah.
And he's put his coat on. Like,
literally.
Where is his? It's been lovely. It's dry. It's great. Still a bit cold.
Yeah. Now, from sundresses to raincoats, and we will definitely need the raincoats during an Irish summer. Stylist Justine King has weatherproofed our styles for us. Good morning to you, Justine.
Good morning.
And look, we have to be prepared. It's Ireland.
Absolutely. We need cover-ups with every look, which I think we have today, thank God.
Lovely. And we're going, Ursula.
Yeah.
I spotted you from inside the building through the wall. This is a good one.
Yes. So we're going nice and bright with Ursula to start off. And this look is from Irish brand KC Dresses, who are exclusively online. I'll start off with their gorgeous jacket. So metallics were all over the spring-summer catwalks. Gucci, Altazara, Vogue are calling silver the coolest colour of 2023.
They're very, like, the trousers are amazing. That jacket is class.
It's amazing, isn't it? Now, this comes in gold as well, if you're more of a gold person. I like this pewter, kind of understated silver look, too. And this just brings a bit of bling to what is already a beautiful, bright look. And that would be perfect for your Irish staycation. But that with a t-shirt and a pair of jeans would be gorgeous too, that jacket.
Yeah, because that jumpsuit's really lovely.
It's wow, isn't it? Yeah, so this is already selling so well for KC Dresses because as you can see, it's such a gorgeous fit. It's got the ruching around the waist, the little bit of ruching at the ends as well, which means you could wear that with your flat sandals too. You could even roll them up a little bit. But then, of course, it's got the draped front. It's great for a bigger chest. And then it has the cold kind of shoulder. But you can wear a regular bra with this one, which is great.
It's not just a cold shoulder, it's a cold back. I like that.
Yeah.
Cross.
Yeah, so it's quite glam and dressy. You could dress this right up. You could add a little belt as well. It's already got that bit of ruching. It comes in navy too, if you're not into the hot pink. But of course, hot pink is the colour of this year, as we're seeing, thanks to Barbie.
And what do you think about the ruching at the bottom there as well?
Yeah, it kind of gives it that kind of jogger style at the bottom. You could turn them under as well if you wanted to make it that little bit shorter. We've gone for these shoes that are in that pewter as well. They're from Murphy Shoes, who are in Bantry and Cork. So it's tying that in, and it's got the crisscross front, as you can see on those two, and then the nice espadrille wedge.
Lovely. And then the jewellery you've put with it?
Yeah, so we've gone to Corona Silver, Irish brand, for the jewellery here. And these are handmade beaded earrings. As you can see, they're in that beautiful pink tube, but there's so much attention to detail in those earrings. And they come in a green as well. And then we've gone for the necklace, just keep it simple. We've got a lot going on with the rest of the look. So it's that kind of chain, rope chain, and then the pearl little pendant on that.
Very nice.
Ursula, thank you so much.
It's a lovely look, Ursula.
Gorgeous. That's an easy one for your staycation, I think. You could roll that up in a ball quite easily and you could kind of wear that
now,
anywhere.
Here, we looked at this earlier on. We were saying a light raincoat like this is essential.
Yes, absolutely. So this whole look, again, is from KC Dresses. The raincoat is water repellent, so it's just showing you don't have to be in a drab, dark colour, or you don't have to be looking like you just threw on a coat leaving the house. You can be dressed head to toe and still look stylish, but practical. This is your going out for your walk or off exploring in, say, the west of Ireland or something. It's got the little toggle detail, so you can ruche that in right at the waist, and then it's got the pockets and the hood as well.
Very handy. And then you've got for a hoodie underneath as well.
Yeah, super lightweight hoodie. So this is a great one in summer if you still want to be a little bit covered up, but it's a really light texture. It's got the asymmetric hem, but then we love a hoodie that's long enough for with a legging, because lots of us like to cover the bum and cover the front kind of crotch area with the hoodie. And then it's got the little bit of bling detail going through it, as you can see, with the silver. And it's just a nice kind of lightweight, easy hoodie.
I love a camo legging.
I love a camo legging, and these ones are by KC Active, so it's KC Dresses' own designs. And Siobhan, who runs the company, couldn't find like gorgeous fashion leggings that are also practical. She's big into running herself.
Yeah.
So these ones have your 3 pockets. It's got a key pocket and your 2 front pockets. They're high-waisted, they hold you in, but they also, can be used for running.
I can't deal without the pockets anymore. I don't like a legging without a pocket, so that's great.
I know. Okay, so the shoes then, they're Tommy Hilfiger trainers from Murphy Shoes. Super lightweight, nice leather trainer with a little bit of a gold hardware. These are a great one because you can wear them with your leggings, but wear them with a dress as well. There's not too much going on with them. You can wear them with absolutely everything.
Lovely. And the jewellery today?
Yeah, so her earrings here. So these are the enamelled half-hoop earrings. As you can see, we've got the white here, but they come in a pink, a black and a green. And they are kind of a nice daytime earring, but you could dress those up too.
Okay.
And then we've got
bracelet.
a gorgeous bracelet. What I love about this bracelet, it's got kind of mismatched links, so it's not your traditional link bracelet.
I can see that, yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of got something a little bit different. It's that oversized links, and then it's got a lobster catch, so it's easy to get on and off, which I think with those
By yourself.
Yeah.
By yourself.
Yes, very good. Now, very nautical look now with Sophie.
This is a gorgeous, just nice classic look. The blazer, first of all, is from Irish brand On Trend, and that has an already ruched sleeve, which I just love because I'm constantly having to push up my sleeves when I'm wearing these.
I just don't get these ruched sleeves. I just don't get it.
If you were constantly ruching your sleeve, you'd understand.
But why would you be constantly ruching your sleeve?
You are, because it looks more styled when they're constantly ruched.
On Instagram. It doesn't make any sense.
Oh, it's a look on Instagram.
It doesn't make any sense.
We're constantly ruching our sleeves. So these ones are already ruched. And then the top on underneath is from Irish brand Friday's Edit. This is a great handy little lightweight thing, isn't it? Yeah. Really gorgeous. You could wear this with a skirt. I'd love this with a cream jean either. It's that kind of rugby style neckline, the collared neckline, and yeah, it's just a gorgeous.
That's really nice,
isn't it?
I would wear that.
Yes, you could wear it.
I'd love to wear that. That's a lovely top.
How about you wear that tomorrow and stop wearing the colours I'm wearing every day?
The jeans then are also Friday's Edit. They're high-waisted, and these are 98% cotton, 2% spandex. They've got a nice little stretch, but they're a really soft jean. And then they've got the really kind of distressed hem, as you can see at the bottom there as well.
And the espadrille type flats.
Yes, aren't they gorgeous? They're by the brand Gant. They're little espadrilles, but they're super light. Sophie was only saying that they're one of the lightest shoes she's ever tried on. They come in a cream too. Really handy, just summer shoe to put with everything.
Lovely.
And the earrings.
Yes, so we're just bringing a little bit of colour, but keeping in those kind of blues with the earrings here. And these are a handmade cat's eye gemstone with a little bit of gold plating, the 3 kind of tiered effect, and then they do them in a whole range of colours too, so you can pick out any colours in your outfit. They bring a little bit more dressiness to the look. And then the necklace here, we've got a gorgeous swallow detail and then the little pearl detail too, and that is 18 karat gold plating.
Yeah, isn't it really cute?
Sophie, run before he takes the top off you.
Okay, Ursula's back. Look at this.
Yeah, so Ursula,
this is lovely.
Isn't this gorgeous? Just your kind of creamy, neutral look. The whole look is from On Trend, Irish online boutique. And the top, first of all, that kind of ombre effect is beautiful,
It's
isn't it?
lovely.
Yeah.
It's a really nice jumper.
It's gorgeous. And I love the little t-shirt style in the jumper. You still kind of need it for summer, but for your holidays in Ireland. And we're picking up on those gorgeous creamy colours in it in the trousers too. So we've just gone for a little cami underneath that one too. But you could throw that on over any kind of dress over the skirt too. The trousers are a great fit.
These are a great buy.
Aren't they gorgeous? Yeah, the kind of wide leg, but then they're still cropped, so they're nice for summer. And they've got the pleating detail, and then the gorgeous pocket, and then the kind of crossover front too. So they're a great fit.
Okay, so even like flat belly, round belly, they've got something there because they're distracting with what's going on there.
Exactly.
Nice.
So yeah, across
cool.
the tummy if you're tummy conscious.
Very
We've gone for these light little loafers here, and then they've got that kind of exaggerated gold buckle on them too, and a tiny little modest heel. They come in a black too, and they're a really soft cushioned insole too.
Now this neck piece is a real statement.
Yeah, I think you can afford to add a bit of kind of a statement with this kind of muted look. And I've gone for that exaggerated chain again that we already saw in the shoe in the neck piece. This is a handmade resin neck piece, and then it's got the 18 karat gold plating in the gold, and then the rest is just kind of the white, the cream in the resin.
It's really lovely.
Like that.
No, it's really so
it's cool, isn't it? It'll kind of dress up any t-shirt or anything.
And then the bracelet.
Yeah, and I've kept it simple then with that bangle, the kind of 2-tiered bangle, and that also comes in a rose gold or a silver as well.
Lovely looks
really
as always.
looks, yes.
Thank you. You can teach him about ruching sleeves in just a little while.
Justine, thank you for
Happy
that.
dealing.
Now, after the break, Deric is getting schooled in science. We'll see in a few minutes.
Well, you're very welcome back. I'm looking forward to this. Our curious weather chaser, Deric, is exploring science experiments in Limerick, and it looks like he's popular. Over to you, Deric.
Yes, Tommy, it's all about science. It's all about fun and learning here down at the grounds of Mary Immaculate College with the ESB Science Blast kicking off today. We have lots of fun experiments from right around the country, and we're going to swing the camera around because we're saying hello to everyone at Ballina. Look at all the kids here. They're all excited to be with us. And first up, we have got Jason Bissell with us. Jason, tell us about your little project.
So we did a science project with elephant toothpaste, launching rockets, and vinegar and carbonated soda.
Okay, so you decided to use, we're looking at some of your project here. Why elephant toothpaste? What's in elephant toothpaste?
Yeast and hydrogen peroxide, and it forms together and it makes like a foamy substance, and it shoots a rocket to a distance of 28 meters.
Okay, so you're hoping to send an Irish rocket to space?
Well, we didn't really get that far.
You didn't get that far. Now, it wasn't about the height. You actually focused on the distance. Okay, so how far did you actually get?
We got 28.8 meters.
Okay, and that was the combination of the bicarbonate and the?
Bicarbonate soda and vinegar.
Okay, great. And I believe all your school pals were involved as well?
Yes.
Great. Did you have fun doing the project?
Yeah.
And what did you learn from the project?
I learned how to make elephant toothpaste.
Yeah. So there you go. A big shout out to everyone in Ballina, PS. Woo! All right, next up, see if they can give us a louder cheer. We're heading here to Palace Green in Limerick. all the kids here from Nicker NS. Good morning to you, Elliot.
Well,
good morning. Yeah, you're very tall, by the way. Anyway, tell us about your project, Elliot.
We chose to see what activity would raise our heart rate the most for fitness for the active flag.
Okay, so what was it focused on then?
We focused on six activities that we thought would raise our heart rate.
Okay, so what are we talking now in terms of the activities? What were the ones that you focused in on?
Sprinting, jump squats, boxing, running on the spot, skipping, and maybe I don't know.
And squat jumps.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. So in terms of the sports then, in terms of the exercise, in terms of the activity, what one came out on top?
Sprinting.
Sprinting. So did you do it over 100, 200 metres? What was the distance?
So we timed all the activities for 1 minute. You go as hard as you can for 1 minute.
Okay.
See whatever raised your heart rate the
so
most.
It was like pretty high intensity?
Yeah.
Okay, and that came out on top. So what did you learn really from doing the project at home?
Sprinting won by about a mile.
By a mile? So it's all about that high intensity. And did you get all the gang involved as well in school?
Everybody tested at the same time. We did it all on the same day. We did it on 4 different days.
Okay.
Everybody ran for the minute, and we got the average. Everybody tested their heart rate, and we got the average.
So you were tearing up and down the schoolyard?
Yeah.
Working up a sweat?
Yeah.
And did you enjoy doing the project?
Yeah, it was great fun.
And you recorded your results?
Yeah.
And from there then sprinting came out on top?
Yeah.
All right, guys, can we have a big round of applause, big bullet bus for Elliot and everyone in Nicker NS. And finally, we're going to pop over here to our final project of the morning. In fact, we're staying in Limerick to Locker National School. Oh! I have to say, that's the biggest cheer of the morning so far. Anyway, we've got Evan Keane with us here. Evan, tell us about your little project.
So our project is about does protein make you stronger? And we lifted weights before to test it too. And each student got 100 ml of milk, or protein milk.
Yes.
And we tested it for a week of drinking it. And then after we drink it, after a week, we tested to see, tested the weights and see did we make stronger.
Now let's talk about the naturally high protein foods. What have we got here?
So turkey is one of the highest, and with 29 kgs of protein per 100 grams.
Okay, I'm looking at the seeds and pulses there.
Yeah.
Beans are quite high as well, aren't they?
Yeah. Beans and seeds have 21 grams of protein per 100, and soya has 36 grams of protein per logging.
And I also see steak there. Steak was quite high on the score chart.
Yeah. Steak has 24 grams of protein per 100 grams.
Okay, so who took part in the project?
All of us here.
All the gang here behind us. And what were the results of the project then? What was your conclusions that you drew out of it?
It kind of worked, some of it did and some of it not. Look, this is the protein bar chart.
Okay.
It kind of worked. So a few people got it stronger. And
yeah, you can see Grace got a little bit stronger, yeah. Ollie got a little bit stronger, and Jack got a little bit stronger as well.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So you think in terms of taking protein powder or food, you're saying, I suppose, eat healthily at home?
Yeah, and I say you have to, when you're taking protein, you have to exercise too as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there we have it. And maybe you're going to be a PT in the future, are you?
Yeah.
You're going to be training us all back at base, Tommy Wyrne and Alan as well.
Yeah.
You are, good lad. All right, so there we have it, guys. ESBScienceBlast.com is where you'll find them online. But for me and all the gang here this morning, a big shout out, kids. Back to studio. Slán.
Thanks very much, Jack.
So protein, have you on your protein this morning, Tommy?
I'm a protein this morning. Can you not tell? Have you?
I tell. Look at me.
Look at you showing off the guns this morning.
I know, he's brought them out.
He eats so much protein in the morning.
We rarely see them.
Because there's nothing there.
Oh, but you
Get away
see
from me,
arms.
Deric, I thought we were going to get to see the exploding volcano. That's always the one.
So this was the elephant toothpaste.
So, yeah, so is that what it's called?
So you put into a fizzy drink, and when it
Why
foams...
is it called elephant toothpaste?
Because it's kind of foamy.
And it comes out like that. So it looks like an elephant's trunk, one would think. Yeah, that's how it comes out. There you go.
To shoot the rocket 28 metres, that's pretty impressive.
And also, I think that everyone at home was saying exactly what you were saying. Oh my God, that kid is so tall.
Isn't well, poor Deric was. Hello. So what age are you?
He's 11. He's 11 or 12.
Can someone get me a step here?
But isn't it great that they're doing this type of thing? It's like the Young Scientists every year when they do it for school kids. It's great that they're looking at all these things.
My daughter's 6 and she's already mad about science and learning and factual and all. They're fountains of knowledge. And like, it's amazing that, because we see how popular Young Scientist is.
Yeah, it's the
to have this for primary school kids. Class.
And as a centre of learning, I went to see Venga Boys in Mary Immaculate College. It was a great time. God bless that rag week.
Give us a Venga Boys number.
The Venga Boys
are coming and everybody's
We're up to the bangers again.
Still to come on Ireland AM, the wonderful Katie McCabe chats Ireland's chances in the World Cup.
And in the kitchen, we've got a Filipino chicken dish that
smells amazing.
Oh yeah, it really does. It's a powerful punch.
Also, the circus has come to town.
Not any other kind of punch.
Dublin Circus Project. We're going to be trying out a bit of juggling and all sorts. See you back shortly.
Bye.
Welcome back to the final hour of Ireland AM. And in case you haven't guessed it, I have joined the circus. Yes, we're going to be chatting to the Dublin Circus Project a little bit later on about the training programmes they run for kids and for teens. I'm going to be trying all this, but first I am going to try out a bit of tightrope walking. Here we go. What? So wobbly.
Is he holding his hand?
No, I'm not.
You're holding his hand.
You're holding his hand.
I am not.
Yeah.
Put your hand. You are. Look at him.
Yeah,
you
you're
big
holding his hand.
liar. Sheesh.
Sheesh. That was pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was. Right.
No, he's going to go again now.
Okay, without holding the hand, Tommy. Okay,
Oh, he's not.
here.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, to see.
Keep practicing, guys.
Keep on going. Keep on going.
See you later on.
Oh, okay.
Such a cheater.
Well, we're going to be spinning plates and doing an awful lot more later on, yeah.
A little bit later on. That's why he's got the guns out today. You're going to be doing loads of stuff, isn't that it?
Will you stop it?
So coming up as well in just a little while from a circus camp to a soccer champ, we're going to be chatting to Katie McCabe about Ireland's chances. We're just 2 months out from the World Cup in Australia. Looking forward to chatting to her in just a little while.
And we've got a new chef in the kitchen this morning. Audrey, good morning to you. How are you?
I'm very good.
You're very welcome to Ireland AM. So what are you going to make for us this morning?
So this morning I'll be making some Filipino chicken adobo, and it is my mom's recipe.
Your mom's recipe?
Yes, my mom's recipe.
Has this been handed down, has it?
Yes, pretty much.
What's adobo? What is it?
Adobo is a dish where you marinate the meat in some soy sauce, vinegar and aromats, and it really depends on each household.
Okay.
It
How
smells
you do it.
so good.
Thank you.
It smells
Looking
really
forward
good.
to that. Now, and our very own Einstein was checking out the science experiments in Limerick this morning. So, Deric, what are you up to now?
Yes, Al, it's getting busy down here at Mary Immaculate Limerick. Science Blast kicking off right about now. Hello to everyone in Skinner-Rinky National School! Hannah, what was your experiment on?
So we focused on cows and the grass growth of cows. So grass affects the cows, so if it's a really hot summer then the growth of the grass won't be as good, and that'll affect the produce of the cows.
Here we have it, a budding scientist of the future, guys. You heard it here first. Back to you now, Stu.
Welcome back. Now, earlier on we were talking about student accommodation for third level students because UCD have launched a report that shows that people just cannot afford the accommodation. And we have lots of messages coming in on this one, Alan.
Don't we? Yeah. Katrina says, my daughter's in college in Dublin and we're struggling to pay the, listen to this, €8,656 for her accommodation. Our youngest son will be going to college in September and we'll be paying then €16,000 on accommodation for next year and for the next 3 years.
Every year.
Just for accommodation.
Like 16,000 just for the accommodation.
Mick has said, I come from a family of 7. My parents educated us all to Leaving Cert standard, but couldn't afford to send us to university. It seems that all students now see third level education as an automatic right. I think more people should do trade apprenticeships because we have such a shortage of tradespeople now.
So an awful lot of
something to be
jobs,
said for that.
an awful lot of jobs, you have to have a master's to get just a basic entry-level job. And with tradespeople,
right to get into trades.
with tradespeople, but we've talked about that here. So they're paid below the minimum wage at €6. So they're trying to get more money because tradespeople now can't live where they need their trade.
No, they can't live that as well, yeah.
But they're asking for more money because they can't afford to live.
When a tradesperson is learning, it's like going to college to learn.
I know, but
you're not going to get paid as much.
I know, but we're talking about here that they can't live where their apprenticeship is. So they're like, we need to make more money so that we can afford to pay for accommodation. So it's tradespeople are having issues as well, even if you're doing apprenticeships.
And if you up that, you will get more plumbers, you will get more carpenters, more tradespeople. That's what the country needs as well.
An awful lot are living at home.
It's a shame to see that to get any job nowadays, you have to have a master's. Like,
oh, absolutely. It's ridiculous.
And a master's in what?
It's ridiculous. I'm not saying that that's the right thing. My son is in college in Galway. We can't find accommodation for his final year. We've been on a waiting list since January. When we signed up, we were told he was 1,650th on the list. He can't live at home as the bus commute would take 4 hours. My God.
Let's talk about the child-free zones on public transport then. So we were discussing that earlier, that people were giving out, people who don't have kids were giving out that too much racket. And, you know,
nobody was giving out who don't have kids.
Go into a restaurant if there was kids making noise in there. Alan is just appalled by that.
I certainly was not.
Anna said she agrees with me. Whenever we go on holiday, we stuff our kids' backpacks full of snacks and make sure we have enough food to last the whole flight. At this point, we do anything to keep them busy. So, like, I am trying to keep them quiet, Al. Are you one of the people who like glares, like looks over the shoulder and goes?
I said earlier on that I was on a flight once and the child kept kicking the back of my seat, and I kept turning around, and until I got the parents' eye and sort of said, "Can you?" And they went, "Oh yeah." So it was like the child just kept kicking.
I do struggle. Damien says, I love having my children on the plane with me. If a person in front reclines their seat too far, I just put my young son on my lap.
I never
and the seat gets always pushed right back up. It works every time. And we were talking about this on a short-haul flight. If someone reclines their seat, that is worse than any crying child on a plane.
Now, our megaphone is on. You can take a picture of our... what do you call our thing there?
QR code.
QR code.
Oh, this is the result.
Oh, this is the result. Oh, this is the result.
Transport.
61% say that no, we shouldn't introduce a child-only zone.
Thank you so much for getting involved.
As a parent, I would love a child-only zone because it means just let them loose. But
you can't let them loose on a plane.
God help you with the racket at the back.
You can. As they keep on going with this, after the break, we are going to be speaking to soccer captain Katie McCabe, who's going to have to get a flight to Australia. So what's that going to be like for the Irish team if their children all over the place?
Looked after.
She's going to be sharing her plans to take Ireland to the top. We'll talk to you shortly.
It's great to have you back. Now, the girls in green made history qualifying for the World Cup, and Katie McCabe is gearing up to captain her country.
And we've seen her in just top form so much recently. And luckily for us, we've managed to nab Katie for a quick catch-up at training in Irish Town. Katie, it's lovely to have you. Thank you so much. We're just going to get straight into it because, you know, the World Cup, we're less than 2 months to go to it. Group B, how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, look, I'm really excited. We're going to finish the end of the WSL season soon, and then we'll have a bit of time off and can get straight into it when we get back to Dublin. We've got 2 big games for our send-off against Zambia and France. So I'm hoping the fans come out to Tallinn and support us and cheer us on before we head off to Australia.
No doubt. Like, the country is going to be absolutely buzzing, which I'm sure you're fully aware of. But everybody is so excited. And it's not just here in Ireland. It looks like it's going to be buzzing in Australia as well, because the opening match is against Australia. And it's not going to be in the National Stadium Australia, in front of 83,000 people. I mean, what a way to kick off the tournament.
Yeah, it's so exciting. I've got a few Australian teammates as well, and I've been kind of giving them a bit of banter about having more Irish there than Australians, because there's so much Irish down in Sydney. So, yeah, it's going to be exciting. I'm happy the stadium got moved in the end, because originally it was in a 40,000-seater.
Yeah.
So to pack out an 80,000-seater is pretty cool.
And Katie, I know an awful lot, like, you're not finished the Women's Super League yet. Your final game is on Saturday against Villa. You've done so well with Arsenal, 3rd place in the league. And it's been amazing football, but also the numbers that have been coming out to watch it this year, selling out Emirates. It does mean a lot for the game, right?
Yeah, it's incredible. I think Arsenal have always been a driving force for women's football in England for so long. And the direction the club are heading off the pitch in terms of marketing the women's team from a commercial point of view is really incredible. And they showed that with 60,000 selling out in the semi-final against Wolfsburg. So, yeah, it's an exciting time. So, yeah, Arsenal are looking to capitalise on it at all times.
Yeah, like it is incredible. I think the competitiveness of it, the fact that it's going right down to the wire to the last game of the season to see whether Chelsea do clinch the title against Man United and stuff is amazing. But it's actually the level and the standard of football is just out of this world. Like, and yourself, you're leading that. You're up for goal of the month in April as well with an absolute cracker. I mean, like it's a special time to be a part of it, particularly with the success of the WSL.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's really positive. Obviously, the success of the England team last year winning the Euros helps that sort of audience want to come in and watch us play in the big games as well. And the fact there's a title race going on, there's a relegation battle going on, and obviously we're looking to secure Champions League football on Saturday too. So yeah, it's tasty enough for the neutral, but yeah, it's exciting to be part of.
Well, you don't have neutrals in the Kardashian clan because they're, you know, Kim Kardashian's son, North Saint, he wears a McCabe jersey.
Yeah, it was that blew up actually. My phone started hopping when yeah, the photo went out with Kim's son watching the game. Yeah, it's incredible to obviously have that sort of support, and I'm just happy they chose a McCabe 15 shirt.
Yeah. You're right.
Kim,
I mean,
her good friend Kim.
Yeah, Kardashians, no biggie, no biggie. Like you've also shared, like you're growing the game. The game has grown so much, and you actually shared a video recently of a young supporter who came to meet you in Liverpool as well. It's a special moment to be able to react with young fans like that.
Yeah, look, it's important for us to always engage with our fans. It's even that little girl recently. It's easy to kind of spot the tricolour when you're over in England if they're in the crowd. So I always manage to go over and make sure I give time back, because I was once that fan, looking up to my idols when I was going to football games. And yeah, it's an important feeling, and we don't want to lose that.
Look at her. You gave your boots away, signed them. Tommy, did you ever do that?
I mean, should you not have...
Were you a nice person? Did you give boots to anyone?
Should you not have waited till after the match before giving the boots away, Katie?
That was after the match.
Yeah, he's such a pup. He's only avoiding the question he's meant to be asking about you and your... How many siblings?
To be fair, oh yes.
It's made for this.
Katie McCabe, you actually have
11 in total.
10 siblings. And football is in the family.
Yeah, my older brother, he played for Shamrock Rovers, and then my younger sister, she's playing with Shamrock Rovers as well, and then she's in the Ireland underage setup as well, so she's hot on my heels, and I'm sure she'll be replacing me in a few years when I've retired.
Jeannie, will you calm down? We're just talking about the World Cup now. We don't want you thinking about going anywhere else like that. Well, what a family to have. Like, 3 footballers, the pressure in that family, but I suppose when you have
10 siblings.
Thank you very much. That's good. Now, Katie, you are all about encouraging women in sport as well. It is really important to you, and I know you're involved in an initiative at the minute.
Yeah, I'm involved with Cadbury and the Supporter and a Half campaign, and for us, I've loved working with the brand ever since I teamed up with them. It's all about encouraging supporters to get involved, and with the women's teams, it's been such a special place for me, because I was among a senior women's team, and for Cadbury to be supporting them all around to encourage participation within women's football is really incredible, and yeah, it's something I'm really happy to be part of.
Look, it's just so exciting, and to see the crowds that are coming out at the minute, and you of course had those 2 big games before flying out to Australia as well. Zambia first up on the 22nd of June, and then France on July the 6th, and no doubt there's going to be a massive crowd. I'd say you're just so buzzing. You know, to qualify for the World Cup is amazing, but I'd say you just can't wait to get out there.
Make sure you get your tickets for it.
Oh, we'll be there.
Oh my God, Virgin Media are sending us over.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We're bringing the couch, Katie. We're going to be pitch side. But there is another thing that's going on that I think is absolutely amazing. This is September the 23rd. In the Aviva, it's Ireland's women's team will play for the first time in the Aviva as well, isn't it? Against Northern Ireland.
Yeah, that's part of the new Home Nations. It's a new structure within Europe, and the FAI have luckily put us into the Aviva for our first time ever, which is incredible. It's something that we've been working behind the scenes with the FAI just to find the right timing of when to do it. And I think off the back of a World Cup, to have our first homecoming at the Aviva National Stadium for the first time ever is really exciting, and it's one we're really looking forward to.
Yeah, because you're selling out Tallaght Stadium all the time. Like, it's amazing that more people will be able to go and to get to see you as well.
Yeah, listen, if you can see it, you can be it. I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Katie, you're an absolute superstar. We've been dying to chat to you for ages now.
Tommy's been trying to set this up for how long?
Ages, yeah. And she keeps blanking me. But anyway, listen, I'm delighted to have you this morning. And listen, if we don't chat to you before you head off to Australia, all the very, very best.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Katie. When you see the couch, make sure you come over and say hi to us. Give Tommy a pair of shoes. He's got no shoes left from handing them out. It's been a pleasure talking to you. She's such a legend. Now, still to come on the show, we've got a Filipino chicken dish that you don't want to miss.
Plus, as well as talking to Katie, I'm fulfilling my childhood dream of joining the circus. It's a good day.
It's been a big
here
day.
in Ireland. See you back here in a few.
Cool. Now we've got a new chef in the kitchen this morning.
We sure do, and she's making a Filipino classic chicken dish. Audrey Cahatol, good morning to you. How are you getting on?
I'm very good. Thank you for having me.
I gather this is your mum's recipe, so there's a lot of pressure on.
Yes, for like quite a bit of pressure because it has been
But for us to eat it and to enjoy it.
You must. You must
No pressure there. We'll always enjoy it.
So how do we start?
Right. So here I have some raw chicken thighs with skin on, just because we prefer it because there's more flavor.
Okay.
And then I'm going to be adding some dark soy sauce for color.
Lovely.
Light soy sauce, which is actually Filipino. I got this one from the Filipino Asian market.
Okay.
Oh, right. Now
and chicken thighs, because people think the chicken thighs are the tastiest part of the chicken.
Yes, it's the juiciest as well.
All right.
And then I have the bone on as well for extra flavor.
Yeah.
Because we like to bite the meat around the bone as well.
Oh, do you? Yeah. So you can use your hands on this one? Okay,
yes.
perfect.
Okay, we'll do
that. Is there a
so.
difference between Filipino soy sauce and, say,
it's from
normal
the
supermarket? Like, what is it different? Or if I only had normal soy sauce at home?
Yes, you can use that as well.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay,
and I'm actually using some cane vinegar. So it's vinegar that's made out of cane sugar. That's also from the Filipino store.
Oh, I don't
but you can use white wine.
Store?
There's one near the post office, just in the small alcove area.
Google it now.
Or you can get it in the Asian market as
Filipino
well.
stores, Ireland.
And then
Interesting. Yeah, lovely.
I'll be adding 10 cloves of garlic.
10 cloves of garlic.
10 cloves.
10, Tommy. There are 10 all over the shop this morning.
And whole black peppercorn.
Wow.
2 bay leaf. And then just to balance the acid and the saltiness,
and stuff,
I'm adding some brown sugar.
Brown sugar. Now, how long would you normally leave that to marinate for?
I personally would leave it for 30 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
I know that some people leave it longer, but I'm just weary of the acid in this marinade. So it'll start breaking down the protein. Yes, exactly, like ceviche.
You wouldn't want to cook it, leave it overnight then, obviously?
You can. I've tasted some. It's still really nice.
What does your mum do?
My mum does it for 30 minutes to an hour.
30 minutes.
So we'll stick to that. So I'm just letting this marinade. And I actually have some already marinated here.
Okay, right.
So it's ready
after
to go.
30 minutes, then you take them out. And
Yeah, and I just have it on some tissue here just to dry the surfaces so it gets a better sear.
Oh, and that'll make it a bit more crispy then as well, the skin.
Exactly. And as you can see, the color has significantly changed from the beginning. So it's taken on all of that flavor. And I'm just preheating a pan here with some sunflower oil.
Okay.
So it's at very high heat.
So because you want it to literally sear immediately, do you?
So you're getting as much color on there as possible before you start stewing it. So that adds a deeper layer of flavor.
Now, am I right, Audrey, in saying that you could eat this for breakfast?
Yes.
In the Philippines?
Yeah.
Would it be a traditional breakfast or
well,
dish for breakfast?
We tend to eat rice with savoury dish for breakfast. So let's say we have leftover rice from dinner.
Oh, that is very hot. I love that. I love the sizzle.
My grandparents would turn it into fried rice. And then, like, if we have leftover adobo, they'll fry it up as well and then put it all together and have it laid out for the whole family to eat.
For breakfast?
Yes, for breakfast.
And you kind of eat rice for breakfast, lunch and dinner?
Yes. I used to when I was younger, when I lived in the Philippines.
That's amazing.
Yeah. We really love our rice there. Yeah, that's why I brought in a rice cooker here. It's one of the first things.
Basically just cooks rice?
Well, you can cook anything in it.
Oh, right.
Is it a slow cooker?
Yeah, essentially, yes.
Yeah. Essentially slow cooker, okay.
So it's like heating it up at low to medium temperatures, and then it cooks the rice perfectly every single time.
Oh, see, that's the thing, isn't it?
One of those.
Now, so how long do you just sear them and then, or do you just, are you cooking this right through now on the pan here?
I'm just getting colour here in the beginning.
Okay.
And then I'll turn it over and then add the rest of the marinade and then cover it to let it cook. So the steam, like without reducing the liquid. And then when I take off the cover, then that will allow the steam to evaporate and then in turn reduce the liquid to make it into a sauce.
And in total, how long does it take?
This one can cook in 25 minutes.
25?
Yeah, it's a very easy recipe. Like, I didn't even have to use the chopping board for it.
No.
And my 10-year-old brother can make it as well.
Well, that says a lot.
I don't know if I'd be able to make it now. Maybe as good as you would.
So, as you can see there, I have a really nice sear on the skin.
Yeah, that looks delicious. Yum. Yeah, love that now.
And it fills the whole house as well with
lovely smells. Yeah, we could smell it earlier on when you were cooking the other stuff. It was lovely. So then when you do that, you put the marinade back in?
Yeah, so I've reserved the marinade after drying the chicken.
After you dried them all off.
Yeah, because this will act as the sauce.
Yeah.
Just to cook the chicken in.
And with 10 garlic cloves?
Yeah.
Like, does anybody
You seem so scared.
Does anybody come near you for the rest of the day after if you had this for your breakfast?
It's actually quite mellow.
Oh, is it?
Because you're not eating the garlic cloves. It's just to spread the flavour in it.
Yeah, it's already in the marinade. You're not eating it raw.
Yeah.
It's already been cooked, so you won't get the same effect as if you'd eaten a baguette.
So you put the lid on that and leave that for about 20 minutes or so.
Yeah, and I'll just bring this to a simmer and then they'll keep cooking.
So you have one here. So we have the rices ready. I can't wait for this now. And I love that, the way it just makes perfect rice.
Yeah,
rice is very hard to make from scratch. I buy the ones that you buy in the pack and put in the microwave for 2 minutes.
Alda.
I have...
What about...
I'm literally... It works. You put it in the microwave for 2 minutes.
You know what's good? The boil in a bag ones.
Yeah, but they're exactly the same, the microwave ones.
Yeah.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Okay. Or else we just get one of these.
Or we get a rice cooker and make them proper.
Exactly the same when you cook it in the pot as well. So it really depends on the heat and the ratio of water to rice.
Now, if I tried to make rice like that from scratch, it would be a disaster, I can guarantee you.
I'm very excited for this now, Al. This looks good.
Oh,
it smells delicious.
Yeah.
What's your mum's name?
My mum's name is Agustina.
Agustina?
Yes.
Okay, well, Agustina,
that's a lovely name.
It smells delicious.
Agustina's recipe we're trying this morning.
She's actually at work at the moment.
Oh, well, she can watch it later.
Yeah, she'll watch it later. I'm kind of scared.
Look at that. Go on, pass it over, Alva.
Would you give the girl a second?
So, just to let you know, there's whole black peppercorns here as well, so...
Okay, look at that. There you go.
Yum.
I'll add a bit of that.
You said I can use my hands.
Oh,
yes.
What's this?
That's just some spring onion, if you'd like some.
And a little spring onion.
Oh, it's delicious.
You're not just saying that.
No, it's very, very tasty.
Thank you.
Okay.
I love it.
Quick, give me a try. Love this.
I'll try some quickly.
And some spring onion.
Yes.
Thank you so much, and well done on your first time in the kitchen with us this morning. Audrey, thank you so much.
Absolute star. Thank you.
Still to come, the circus is in town, and Tommy's going to be crowned, well, king of the circus.
Not after eating this.
We're going to find out what we're going to be doing after the break.
Well, I tried my hand at tightrope walking earlier, and I think I'm pretty much ready to join the Dublin Circus Project. So here to tell us more about the classes that they run for youth and teens and all sorts is youth coordinator and aerial performer Nicola Moran. Good morning to you, Nicola. How are you?
Good morning, Tommy.
Look at this in the background. It's not just amazing. Tell us, how did you get involved in the Dublin Circus Project?
Well, the story starts about 10 years ago when I first saw circus in New York, and I came back to Ireland, and I started investigating where I could find circus, and I started rehearsing and training in Dublin Circus Project.
Okay, and what sort of services do they offer in the project?
So we have a fantastic training space for professional artists that you can see in the back here. And then we also have classes.
Impressive.
Yeah. We also run classes for kids aged from 4 and upwards. And yeah, we have classes that we can do in schools, community groups, neurodiverse classes, inclusive of all ages.
I mean, it's something growing up that I reckon I would have really loved, but didn't know where to go to do it. So for young kids, must be dying to get involved because there's so many different skills that you can learn.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's something for everyone.
And how long would it take to learn? Say, I was trying my hand at tightrope walking, wasn't very good at it. You know, a skill like that, would it take a long time to learn these things?
It just depends. It depends on which skill that you want to focus on. Lots of practice. The thing with practicing, you end up making loads of friends, so you end up skill sharing. It's a really, you end up having a nice community.
Okay, so beginner-wise, where would you start off?
Well, we have classes in Cherry Orchard Community Centre, and they will facilitate the group, beginner level to upwards.
Okay, very good, very good. We'll bring in Archie here as well. Archie, so when did you get involved in the project?
I got started about a year and a half ago.
Oh, right.
Yeah, which was the first term, because you know there's terms for the different youth classes, and that's been really good for me.
And what sort of level did you start off on? Is there kind of a beginners for people to get involved in?
Yeah, I'd say it was fairly beginners. I've got some experience with doing the kind of creative and athletic sort of sportsy type things, so that gave me an advantage. But it was beginner all around. That's good, because I got to learn all the stuff from the top.
And were you involved in other activities, or what was it about the circus that really interested you?
I'd say it's the fact that, you know, it's very hard to do circus skills without a kind of a club or anything. You know, the materials, the equipment and stuff, that's hard to get your hands on. And as well as a good teacher, you can't just find a guy, oh yeah, you know, I do stilts, I can teach you. So it's really good that that's there.
And Nicola, is it fun to have young students come on who are really interested and get involved in it?
Oh my God, it's fantastic. They're showing us up. It's brilliant. I can't wait to see what else they do, and they're working towards a show now. So yeah, it's fantastic.
And with this school, because we see circuses coming from all over the world and we see some amazing performances, could the Dublin Circus Project rival there? Is that the sort of level that we're going to aim for?
Absolutely, yeah. We want to lift, the circus in Ireland, and we have really young performers now, so yeah, sky's the limit.
I was trying out the handstands as well.
Yeah.
Not quite there yet, but I'm working on it as well. So I think we're going to start maybe at a beginner level. So Archie, you're going to show us how to do plate spinning, are you?
Yeah.
Okay, what do I need to do? You show me how you do it first of all.
So, first off, I'm going to start with the very basics, which is just how to hold it.
Right.
I want to have my hand out and then kind of wrap my fingers around it. And then this is the slightly more advanced technique, but it's also way cooler to pull off. So I've got it, and I'm kind of spinning it, making circles with my hand, and then they get faster and faster.
Did you see that? Okay, right, thank you.
So,
right.
yeah.
So, start off like that.
Yeah, that's right.
And then...
Yeah.
They always make it look a little bit easier, don't they? Right, okay, Archie.
Okay. Try make slow circles with your hand, and then they get faster and faster till it's in the air. And then hopefully...
Oh, I nearly had it!
You nearly had it. You just try and catch it in the middle.
That's it, yes.
Oh! Can I not just start like this? Oh,
well,
no.
you can if you just put it here, and then once it's balanced, just got to spin it. You can also do that.
Okay, very good. Right, we've got the two jokers here beside me.
Yeah. I have it nailed.
Oh,
I have it nailed.
Beautiful.
Look at that. You're good at the juggling. Here you go.
Okay. Nicola, so you could do this. So is this kind of the beginner level that Alan's going to have a go at here?
Yep.
So you just
we have
gonna give it a few strokes and then it'll get
flower
faster.
sticks, juggling,
you've got it.
acrobatics and aerial. Yeah, the whole works.
Okay.
Plate spinning prodigy.
There we go.
That's not too bad. Hey, Archie, can you juggle then as well?
I can try.
Do you want to give it a go?
Oh, sure.
Come on, and you can give us a lesson on how to do it too.
I'm not
learn how to juggle too.
I'm not the group juggler, but I can attempt.
Okay.
So.
Okay, right.
Hey. Does there have to be an element, because Tommy started practicing inside doing loads of handstands.
I know.
Right? He's really into. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Whoa.
There has to be an element of. Look
Can I get in? Can I join?
Absolutely.
Our newest member. But I can do this.
No, but guys, can we just do something? Come on, Tommy. Come over here. Tommy, do your handstand. Listen,
oh, yeah, you have to.
There we go.
Lads, this is very impressive.
Yeah.
Come on, Tommy, show us how to do it. Well, you're going to mind him. You're going to mind him.
What am I doing? Like, do I do it in the handstand?
Tommy was doing this in studio all morning. This is very cool. Look at this.
Oh, my phone is gone.
Oh.
Look at this. Look.
Go on, go.
Nice.
How impressive is that? How impressive is that?
Yeah, actually, my watch has just called the emergency services. Listen, I'm actually getting dizzy now.
We do feel like we
Thanks,
need to.
guys. Thank you very much. How can people contact you?
Yes, we have a website, Dublin Circus Project, Instagram. We have workshops for Croonanog on the 10th of June in Cherry Orchard.
Okay.
So, yeah, come and check us out.
Okay, now Alan's going to try a handstand. Here we go.
No, come on now. I'll no way can I do a handstand. Now, where are you going to be tomorrow?
On tomorrow's show, I'm going to head west to catch up with my old pal Rory Best. On the final leg, he's been walking for 10 days. Rory's miles to Mayo and to raise money for the Cancer Fund for Children. So if you are in Galway tomorrow morning, come on over and say hello.
It's been great for him. It's been great.
Yeah. He has raised so much money for such a worthwhile cause. So I'm going to be joined by lots of GA and sports personalities on the route from Cong to Mayo.
Fantastic. That's him tomorrow back in studio. We'll get the latest health headlines with our resident TikTok doc.
Plus, from live action Little Mermaid to Ben Affleck's new thriller, we round up the latest movie releases for the weekend. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place.
Bye.
Have a great day. Go on, go back and do a handstand.